So I guess we start by introducing ourselves.
Okay.
But I guess I'll go first.
Alright.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy, Brother Royce, one time for your mind. Live from Accra, Ghana, with my main man, partner, friend, family, everything. My friend, please introduce yourself.
Alright, I'm alone. Just like I always said, I'm a steward of our process.
Yes.
Yeah, that is how I put it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's been adventurous today in having our brother Hakeem
Yes.
in Ghana. I think this is your second time being in Ghana.
Time.
Yeah, so I want to ask you, how was your first experience in Ghana, and then your first time in Ghana? How was the experience like as compared to this experience before we talk about what we saw today in town?
Well, the first experience, I came in 2018, and I always say the first time I came, it expanded my mind. Okay. How a lot of us live in America is we never leave our own neighborhoods. We live and we die in our neighborhoods, you know. So we think that the whole world is like our neighborhood.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So coming here and traveling here, I always say the most profound experience was standing at the top of a hill and watching like all of the melanated, all of the black people moving together like water. And I didn't realize that in my mind, I had a belief system that black people could not live together in peace. So when I came here and saw everybody coexisting, living peacefully, everybody waving, everybody smiling, everybody's happy, it blew my mind open because I didn't think that was possible. So with that, and the Cape Coast trip, and I mean really this whole part of the video can really be about my first experience here. Because we went to the slave dungeons, which we'll go to, and we'll cover that part of when I first came, when we go again. It was just a mind-blowing experience that I think everybody from where I'm from needs to have.
To experience that.
Yeah.
Everybody has to experience that. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So you arrived yesterday.
Yes. Yes.
Apparently around. You picked it around 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Somewhere around 4 p.m. from the airport. So
Yeah.
when you're coming back home, what was your experience? Is there any new developments in Ghana because the moment you entered into the country yesterday, I realized there was some kind of relief.
Yeah.
I saw some kind of relief, and it's like you're so hyper, not just hyper, you're so euphoric about you touching the soil once again. And I was like, oh, it's like I used the word yesterday. You came out as like a dog that has been unleashed. Yes,
an animal out of the cage.
Yeah, so your experience yesterday, driving all the way from Kodoka International Airport to my residence yesterday, how was the experience? Then they commented, we had some conversation also, I think, in the car when we were coming yesterday.
Yes.
I don't know, would you like to share any experience about
about the going home and development? Which is a great question. How did things...
But before then, let me ask you. So when you came in 2018, you went back to America.
Yes.
So we're talking about comparing two things. Have you had any different perspective after going back? Before we come to this session, I think after going back, what has happened?
Yes.
Any developments, like any new developments and any other things you would like to talk when you went back?
Everything changed. Before I came, I was like a youth pastor in a church.
Okay.
And I was teaching the Bible and teaching God from not a Eurocentric perspective, but from a lack of knowledge perspective. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean by lack of knowledge?
A lack of knowledge of what the Bible really was, what it was really about. And when I say that, I didn't understand what I was missing. It's not that I was teaching a Eurasian, European perspective, but it's that I understood it better after being here. you know, and I understood things about, okay, why did Christ always speak in parables? Oh, because the African people have a tradition of passing stories down through parables. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So learning the culture, I had already been in a church that was run by an African pastor for like 4 years. But they really gave us what America says Africa is. So you learn about it from Africa, but it's like, okay, this is as much as I want to know about Africa, because what they teach us about there isn't that good. So we'll take an African pastor, but to actually go there, we'll wait on that, you know. And we all had our desires to go, but it was a trip that we were never able to make. So now going there and coming back, I had a different understanding of God, a different understanding of Jesus, a different understanding of the Bible. And I really understood, like, everybody here loved like how the Bible said love. The way the Bible teaches us to love where we come from, it's like an ideology. It's like, this is where you ideally want to be. When I came here, I actually saw people living like that. And I'm like, wow, this is how he wanted us to live. We don't have to die and go to heaven to see it. This is how people are living right here. So it completely changed my perspective on everything. And it was a huge shift, especially seeing the dungeons and especially talking about the truth behind the narratives that they've given about Africa. The first time we was here, remember I told you guys, I told it was you and Kojo, I had a long conversation about, this is everything they told us about Africa, is it true? And they were like, those guys are liars.
We live in a cave. So we live in a cave
that the people are poor. They sold us into slavery, everything. And to actually talk with the African people, they was like, my brother, that's not true. It was like, none of those things are true. And they actually sat me down, especially going to the dungeons, because they were, you know, Kojo then was talking to me while I was at the dungeons. They actually sat us down, and then with the guy who leads the tour on the dungeons, they actually sat us down and gave us the real story about their perspective from slavery. And I was like, America never taught us this. So it was a huge change.
Over the years, the world, you know, portrayed to everybody that we live on trees.
Yeah.
We live in caves.
Huts, cannibals.
So I want to ask you.
Lions walking through the front yard.
Yeah, so let me ask you. So are we living in caves here?
No.
Are we living on trees?
We're living better. The Africans are living better here than a lot of us are living in America.
So yeah, right. So, thank you very much for giving us the perspective after going back to the States and your experiences and the changes and all that. So thank you. So now I want us to delve straight to the question I asked you before.
Yes.
Question I asked you before. That is, after touching the grounds from Kodoka International Airport there to this residence.
Yes.
Yeah, I was asking about your experience.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, your experience from the Kodoka International Airport through to the road to their house.
Yes.
Yeah, how was the feeling like? Even though I observe you being like relieved and all that, but you can explain it better. You can explain it better. So I would like you to speak about that. Yeah.
I always quote that. I'm gonna quote that on my Twitter. The African people said I was like an animal out of the cage, a dog off the leash. But you know, we're made to live in conditions of stress. I don't come from the American dream part of America. I come from the part of America that they hide, that they don't talk about, or that they put on the documentaries. I come from the parts of America where hundreds of people are dying. You know, between January and March of when I moved to Liberty City, Miami, 356 people had been murdered. In 1 year, over 1,000 people will be murdered, have been murdered in Chirac, Chicago.
Ooh.
Over 1,000. Imagine 1,000 youth. Youth.
Ooh.
All from gun violence. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So this isn't like everything combined, alcohol. No, this is all gun violence. Thousands of people.
But how does that happen? The gun violence in Chicago, how is that so? Like, how does it start?
It's the same way it happens in every community. They shut down the programs. They close up the businesses. They take most of the father figures or the males out of the community. Okay. After they do that, now they pump drugs into the area. They pump guns into the area. And now the people are already impoverished. There's no education in the system because most of the schools are closed down, or they're not paying the teachers, or the books are outdated. So now you put uneducated, which means they can't go anywhere and get other opportunities. You take away the jobs. You take away the extracurricular programs, so there's nothing there to at least train them in a football or a basketball or something. And then now you have people that are impoverished, disenfranchised. You know what I'm saying? Like most of them have jail records by the time they're young, by the time they're children, because they're all just in the streets sitting around. So now when you do this, now you give them the guns, now you give them the drugs, and now it's the economic impoverishment that now set the stages for the high crime rates that you see. So with that being said, nobody should look at these communities and be like, it's their fault. Yes, we make the choices, yes, we make the decisions, but it is always economic hardships that dictates the choices that these people have, you know what I'm saying, coming forward. So coming there to hear that stress, that weight is lifted off. It's not that anxiety. It's not, like I say, working to pay bills. You know, if your bills are $1,500 a month, you may work 2 jobs to bring home $1,700. So after you pay bills, you have just enough to get food for the house, and you're back broke.
But I think bills is everywhere.
Bills is everywhere.
Bills is everywhere.
Yes.
When you come to Accra,
yes.
come to Ghana,
right.
I pay bills here.
Right.
I pay
right.
internet.
Right.
I pay for the lights.
Right.
But if
what isn't everywhere is the economic impoverishment and the lack of opportunities. So bills is everywhere, but in places where there are bills, the economics is running, there's opportunity, there's businesses, there's jobs, there's trade schools, there's educations. It's not shutting down every single thing in the neighborhood and still saying, hey, we're expecting our bills on the first of the month, and we don't have jobs. We're in prison fighting court sentences. Drugs everywhere, so the people in the community who could be building a community are strung out on drugs on the corner, not just weed, but like I said, crack, coke, heroin, fentanyl, pills. The whole entire community is stranded on drugs. So the children have to take care of themselves, and you give the children guns and you tell them to go rob whoever has it.
So my question is that the orchestrators of these, or the perpetrators of these actions, what is their aim to release gun and all this? What do you think? What are they gaining from that?
Their aim is to eliminate competition. The thing that we have in the West, they may say like, oh, that's diabolical. But West, the economic strategy of the West is competitive advantage.
Okay.
So any other people coming out of these communities that could be the next doctors, could be the next lawyers, could be the next speakers or teachers or educators, we're going to keep them impoverished because we don't want them doing business next to us. You understand? Is if you take a person,
kind of competition.
That's what it is. It's if you take a person who they went to an Ivy League school, not saying there's anything wrong with that. They were born with money, they were born with wealth, they were born with status, and then you take a person who had to struggle to get it and fight to get it and work through hardship to get it, and they didn't have the parents to institute it, so they had to go out and learn it. That person grows up stronger because they had to survive more, they had to go through more, so they become a more well-off, more stable person, and they become the greatest competition there is in the market. So they want to keep the market between them because everybody in the market right now, they know each other and they have an understanding, and it's a certain way they do business with each other. It's like the movie, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but Goodfellas. In the movie Goodfellas, you have the Italians and then you have the two Goodfellas who are Ireland, and the Italians had something called made men. The Goodfellas, where we're a family, so we spend among each other. And everybody who opens businesses and owns businesses is a part of this family. So even if you work with them, because the two guys in Goodfellas were Irish, they weren't even to become official parts of the family. They just worked with people who worked. That's how it is with these inner city communities. Is these people are not us, so we don't need to give them job opportunities. We don't need to give them education. We don't need to give them STEM programs and technology programs. Leave them where they are and let them fend for themselves. But we will use them when it's time for them to make us money. Like we need to make them rappers. And when they become rappers, now they're wasted. Pretty much they work for free. I make $100 million rapping and going around the country touring, and then I spend $100 million on their chains, their cars, their clothes, their institutions. That's how they're trained. That's how they are indoctrinated. That is the Willie Lynch farm. So now we use these people when we need to make money off these people, and that is all they are good for. Other than that, they can kill each other and die.
Yeah, they were mentioned right. Aku, yeah, they mentioned right. All right, okay. So Hakeem, I think you have given a real picture of how American system
Underbelly.
Yeah, but in this part of the world, that's when it comes to Alkebulan, there are a lot of brothers, youths who are eager, who are daring, and then doing anything they could so that they can travel to the States because they see US as a land of opportunities and everybody wants to. And even as it stands now, I saw you very happy coming to Ghana for the second time.
Yes.
Just like you are also happy. I know there are other brothers who are also thinking that this is not a place for them to be.
Right.
But they have to, rather go to America, for greener pastures.
Right.
And all that. So I'm so much amazed that there are a lot of these kind of impoverished sort of lifestyle in the state because it looks to some of us here that not some of us, but we those who know the truth.
Right.
To some of our brothers here, they see US, Europe to be land of opportunities. They see it as a place where there's no poverty or like this kind of things we're talking about where youth parents are taken away from them, release of gun for drugs. Yes, sometimes we see them in the video, we see them in the movies, and all that. So, do you have anything to tell our brothers and sisters in Ghana who don't really have a profession or who don't really have the employment doing in either US or Europe?
Right. When I got here, I'm born and raised in America.
Okay.
So when I come here, to me, this is the land of opportunity. This is a place where...
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a place where you can build and own land. In America, the United States of America is a corporation.
Okay, so you're looking at it from the perspective of construction.
It is a business. That's how it's run. So it's not just looking at it from that perspective. That's how it's run. It's run like a business. So if you're living inside Walmart, you can't buy property in Walmart. All of that property is owned by the people who own Walmart. So I can be able to lease you. I can lease you a piece of land, or I can lease this car to you. But if I go to car and I say, hey, I want to buy this car in cash. Okay, you buy the car in cash, and then you got your insurance that you pay every month. If I go to this house and say, hey, I want to buy this house in cash. Okay, you buy the house in cash, and you pay the mortgage or whatever every year. But in America, they have things called eminent domain, meaning that the government can come and take the property back at any given time.
Like any given time?
At the area.
Without prior notice?
In the area where I live at, Liberty City, the area where I moved, where there was 356 deaths in the first 3 months of the year, in just Miami-wide. Those are the children of the Bahamians and African American slaves that built a place called Overtown.
Okay.
They built Overtown. They got paid for it, and not built Overtown, they built South Beach. Okay. South Beach was built by African Americans and Bahamians.
Oh, I see.
Yes, by blacks. So when the blacks built South Beach, they would take the money that they made and they bought a town called Overtown. Blacks owned that town. Okay. Our own movie theaters, our own restaurants, our own everything was in that town. They came to the town. You got this town, and then you got the white town that was like right down away from it. Lot of land, lot of extra land. Really, they're in this part of the development, and it's a lot of extra land. Okay, so now they need to expand a highway called I-95. So they say, hey, let's expand the area. Let's extend the highway of I-95 through where the whites are, because they have all the extra land for it. We can build right through there without disturbing any of the homes. The whites said, we don't want a highway running through our place. Build it through where the blacks are. So they came in eminent domain, meaning that they came and they bought the blacks out of their houses. but the blacks had already been there for what, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. They paid them the same amount of money that they bought the property for when they first came.
Oh.
And when the blacks
how do you get to know all these things? Are you sure what you're telling me?
Because that's where I lived. So I had to learn the history of the place. I had to learn from the people who were there, Miss Melba Rose, Miss Miriam King. These are the people who would teach you the history behind Overtown in Liberty City. So when they came to Overtown, and the people that would not sell their homes and would not give away their homes, they sent the Ku Klux Klan in to run the people out of their homes. And then if you look at I-95, you will see that I-95 goes directly through the middle of a town.
Okay.
So the town was demolished, and all of those people were packed into Liberty City. Now you shut down the businesses around Liberty City. There was a leader in Liberty City named William McDuffie. There was also a church in Liberty City called the Yahweh Ben Yahweh Church. Okay, the Yahweh Ben Yahweh Church, they taught spirituality, and William McDuffie, he kept organization in the community. William McDuffie was killed by a police officer on his motorcycle.
Yeah.
The Yahweh Ben Yahweh Church was shut down, and Yahweh Ben Yahweh was arrested, and he died in prison. In the compound he had a $250,000 compound where he moved all of his followers on the compound, and they were protected day and night. They got education about God, they got proper eating, proper exercise,
nutrition,
proper teaching, nutrition, everything on a God-centered compound. They destroyed the compound, demolished the compound.
What was his crime?
His crime was the $250,000 that he had for the compound. They said it was embezzlement. There was no way he could have legitimately got the money, even though the leader said we sold our houses and we sold our homes because we're living on the compound. So it was like the book of Acts. We sold our houses and homes, we give it to the running of the compound where we're living. They said it's embezzlement. And then they spread around the town.
But do they have any document to back that?
All the charges were dropped after he died. They went around the town saying there was rape and molestation going on at the compound, but everybody at the compound was family. My family was at the compound. So my uncles and aunties ran the compound, and my cousins were the children. So there was no molestation going on because that was my family that was there. They were there. There was none of that going on. And then they were saying he was a killer and he was murdering people. And this guy, when the compound was going on, he was saying, yo, there are random Caucasian people trespassing on the property. They keep coming, we keep running them out, but these people keep popping up on the property. So they brought all these rumors against him. They used all these things to put him in jail. And while he was in jail, they ran all of the leaders out of the country. Ran all of the leaders in the Hali. Destroyed the compound. After they destroyed the compound, that's what they do to every community in America. So after they destroy the compound, and after they kill William McDuffie, the people riot and they burn the whole entire town to the ground. Woo! The whites come in, they buy it. And the people that are there, they call it now the Polk and Beans Projects, because it is an area of extreme poverty and gun violence. And now that area has been gentrified and they're pushing those people somewhere else. So this is life in America. So the Africans that come, they go to areas like Washington, they go to areas like Chicago, where there's a heavy European base, because they know if they live among Europeans, they'll at least be safe enough to go to school. But when they go to school, they get out of school and they see there's no jobs. And they just spent all of this money and got all of this student debt, but nobody's hiring for the jobs anymore. So a lot of these Africans ends up in different, diverse places in society. And at the youth counseling center where I was at, we would get a lot of Africans in there who were on the street, doing different things, both men and women, without getting into a lot of details. But I went to school, I got my college education, nobody's hiring, so here I am.
You're really giving me the picture of how the whole American system around and how brothers and sisters there,
it's all an image.
Living their life, But sometimes the kind of image portrayed to us here, looks like everything is okay.
The American dream, the land of opportunity. Then when you get here, it's like that money on the street.
So it's like money on the tree, like money on the tree, and everybody's plugging money from the tree. Okay, thank you very much for actually giving me a brief about how things run here. Yeah, so just like I said, so you've been able to do the two comparison.
Right.
And then realize that this place would rather be a place of opportunity. That's
land here.
Play our cards well.
You don't have to get robbed. People holding you for gun violence outside of every store. You don't have to worry about being shot dead inside of the store.
So even though I talk about we also pay bills here.
Yeah.
But one thing about this place, you control your bill.
Right.
Okay? You control your bill. So let's say if I buy electricity for, let's say, 500 cities for the month, or let's say 1,000 cities for the month. I have to control my gadgets, maybe my AC, to control how I consume my electricity and other electrical gadgets, so that I will not be able, I will not end up paying more bills. But I know, but what I learned from you, that for the state, like it's not, it can't be controlled. Like they can't give you the cheat and you pay. Is that it?
It's everything. They have the same structure as far as that. What electricity you burn is the electricity that you pay for. They have the same structure there.
Oh, okay.
As far as the bills and everything, that is the same. The thing is, when you come over here, the reason you have the responsibility is because you own the property.
Okay.
Okay. You own the property. You build the house. You set up the lights. You set up the electrician. So when you own the property, it is not state-owned property being leased or mortgaged to you. Even when people say, well, I'm a real estate, I own a real estate, it belongs to the government. It's just a different kind. It's a long-term lease.
Yeah, the real estate concept in the state is different from that.
Yeah, it's a long-term lease.
Alright, so I don't want us to move straight to our experience. I think today is your first day post your arrival. Today is your first day post arrival, and I think you rested. And you slept so
dropped out.
So deeply asleep.
It was not.
Yeah, and then I think from this morning we had about more than 2 hours walk. Since it was part of your plan to also see how properties are built in Ghana. You know, we went to the sites where people are mixing the materials for building and all that. So for the day, what is the summary about our rounds and
summary for day one is Africa, I would say the continent, and I would even say I'm here in Ghana. So speaking specifically for Ghana, not to separate it from the continent and make that separation mentality, but speaking for Accra, Ghana, it is a land and building. You know, and I believe that can be said for, you know, there's different things going on around the country. I don't support, like I said, the separation of people based on, well, I'm Cameroon, I'm Kenya, you know what I'm saying? Ghana's a land and building, and I believe the same can be said or will be able to be said for other places in Africa as well as the times go on. But right now, Ghana, where they have the 2019 year return for all the diasporians, it is a land and building. And I like the fact of, you know, like I was telling him, you know, in the States, you say, hey, I want a 1-bedroom house. Okay, these are the 1-bedroom houses that are available to you. Pick from these. I want a 2-bedroom house or a 3-bedroom house or a 4-bedroom house. Okay, these are the 2 or 3 or 4-bedroom houses that are available to you. Pick from these. You know what I'm saying? And from here, you buy the property, and once you buy the property, you build whatever you want on it. If you want to build a 10-bedroom house on your property, then that's your property.
It fits.
Yeah, it's fixed. And you know, they were showing me the construction of the property, mixing the cement with the sand and the water, and, you know, putting the plastic on it to give it that nice finish. And the way the houses are built here, the houses last for 50 to 100 years. That's what the guy who was actually mixing, he was like, 200 years. 200 years, because they build it so solid, so concrete. You know, in the homes I'm in, you know, in general, how homes are generally built, I do martial arts. So if I make a mistake and hit one of the wall, my hand goes completely through the wall. all the way up to the forearm. And when it's a hole. It's a hole behind the wall. There's no concrete, there's no cement, there's no nothing. Everything is drywall. So you could punch through any wall in your house. And when you pull your hand out of the hole, it's just a hole.
I see.
There's nothing behind it. Yeah. This is concrete. You're gonna break your hand trying to punch through this. And it's just amazing. It's amazing. So, you know, everybody from South Florida, they know about Surfside. The name of that apartment that collapsed was Surfside. And Surfside was an apartment that collapsed with the people still in it. So a lot of people died from Surfside, and there's a lot of lawsuits and stuff going on. But the homes collapsed. But the place, interesting enough, the Bahamians that built Liberty City, those homes, they had a hard time trying to tear those homes down, because they were built with concrete, they were built solid, they were built strong. You know what I'm saying? So imagine not buying a bedroom house, but imagine buying a property, and now whatever you can create, whatever you can envision, you can build on that property.
Like I created this place.
Beautiful place. There's a lot of, coming from the airport to here, I saw that even from 2018 to 2022, a lot of development has happened here. And I noticed, like maybe if you're here every day, it's like, oh yeah, you know, we're not going fast enough. But I instantly noticed like, wow, that wasn't there, and that wasn't there. And hey, like, so, you know, we used to ride with Kojo on the bicycles through the, on the scooters, just throughout the town. Like, Kojo used to drive me around the town. A lot of the roads are built now and are paved now. When I came, all of the businesses were in like the compartments. Some of the businesses are in buildings now.
Yeah.
So to me,
one
you know,
of the greatest opportunities for people.
Yeah, the amount of building and the amount of development that has happened here between 2018 and 2022 to me is amazing, and it's astonishing when sometimes you live in communities that never change, and now you see the place expanding so quick, you know. So it's definitely gonna be the home for a lot of change.
All right. Thank you for the perspective of what we saw today. Yeah. So in conclusion, I want us to quickly conclude this meeting. But before we conclude, so what do you think we can do for our brothers and sisters facing this violence, gun violence, drugs, and all that? But before then, charity we say begins at home.
Big time.
Yes, of course.
Big time.
Because I can't say that everything in Ghana is perfect.
Right.
Okay, because unemployment is a global issue.
Right.
Okay, and everybody try to solve it, but how?
Right.
How are they solving it?
Right.
That is the problem. We're looking for permanent solution to some of these problems.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not saying that maybe Ghana is perfect,
Right.
and everything is well in Ghana, there's a good job in Ghana,
Right.
or all that. But one thing I also believe in is that irrespective of whatever we are in, being it unemployment, being your parent, it's not your fault that your parents are taken away from you.
Right.
It is not your fault that you don't have a job. But you can never sit down and fold your arms in between your legs.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
You can never sit, but you have to always make things happen.
Yes, sir.
And that is what I always tell people.
Yes, sir.
That there should always be an opportunity in every trouble.
Yes.
There should be every opportunity. There should be an opportunity in the mess.
Yes.
In every mess, there is an opportunity.
Yes.
And that is what, personally, I always want us to, dwell in, to think through with brothers that what can we do for ourselves?
Yes.
What can we do for a brother?
Yes.
That is because with politicians who are administering our countries, our jurisdiction, and all that, it is our resource, but they have charge over these resources, and they are living better because they have access to our resources. So somehow our resources are being prostituted. Our future generations, resources for a country is being prostituted by these politicians for themselves and their family. But our hope is not lost.
Definitely.
Okay, our hope is not lost. So we think about things we can do for ourselves, things we can do to help brothers. Okay, so to this state, like, let me ask you, what do you think can be done to help brothers and sisters all over the globe, being it in Alkebulan, in Europe, in America, or in the continents? What do you think can be done so that we come out of some of these challenges?
Well, I think one thing that we can do very simply is, I can say what we're doing for the urban cities, what we're putting together for the urban cities in America, and getting them outside of that bubble. And that seems to be something so simple, but it's a start, okay? Healing. Trauma is something that can be passed down through your genetics. They call it generational trauma. So when people in America now say, oh, why are you guys talking about slavery? Slavery was, we ain't been on cotton fields in 200 or so years, so why does it matter